Hi, it's Nick from the Run Testers, and this is our first run review of the On Cloudneo. So, the Cloudneo is the first shoe launched as part of On's Cyclon recycling service. Basically, the idea is that you pay a monthly subscription fee, you get the shoe in, you wear it out by running as much as you can, then send it back and get an entirely new pair. 100% of the shoe can basically be recycled to create new pairs of the On Cloudneo, so you enter kind of a closed loop system, which is more sustainable than the kind of traditional running shoe industry. So the idea, On says, is to kind of refresh your shoe every 6 months or so, and they say the Cloudneo will last around 600k of running, so obviously that works out around 25k a week. But looking at the website, you can apply to get a new set earlier if you run more than that, like every 3 or 4 months. It's a little unclear, but it seems to be that if you do go through these shoes more quickly, you can get a new pair, earlier than 6 months, depending on stock availability, obviously. On hope to launch the Cyclon subscription scheme properly this summer. It's going to cost £25 a month in the UK, $29.99 in the US, and €29.95 I think in Europe. So over the course of 6 months, it's £150, $180. On says that's in line with high performance running shoes, and it more or less is. It's it's at the expensive end, probably slightly, but actually there are lots of cushion shoes, daily trainers that cost around that mark. So it's kind of priced in line with the current running shoe market, especially Yvonne shoes, which are actually a little bit more expensive in general. On is also very clear that they built a high performance running shoe here, so we're going to review it on those terms. Obviously there have been some eco-friendly shoes out there in the past that haven't always excelled in terms of performance, but On obviously is a running shoe company and they want to make a proper running shoe, so that's how we're going to look at it. The upper is made from PA11, which is a bio-based polyamide derived from castor beans. The beans are very present if you look at the On website for the shoe. It's all about the beans they're making these materials from. It's basically like a knit upper with a sock-like feel. It's very soft around the heel, so there's not much cushioning going on anywhere, but there's no real proper heel counter to provide structure or anything there. It's a very soft sock-like upper all round. The midsole is made from Pebax, so it's obviously a very exciting thing to hear. That's lots of the best midsoles in the market made from Peba-based foams like Nike's Zoom X and Saucony's Power Run PB. So that's an encouraging sign in terms of the performance credentials of this shoe. You've got a exaggerated rocker design there, and then a speedboard running through the 2 layers of foam in the midsole. The speedboard's also made from Pebax. Basically, the whole bottom of the shoe is, and yeah, that speedboard is designed to create a little bit more propulsion, creates a slightly stiffer feel to the shoe, like plates in other shoes. The shoe has a 9mm drop and a heel stack height of 33mm. It weighs in at 269 grams in a UK 9 or 9.5 ounces. And when On was originally developing the shoe for this recycling program, they were looking at a very lightweight shoe, kind of around 200 grams, but I think this is probably the right choice. It had a bit more cushioning, have a bit more weight, and make it a bit more suitable for more people is what they've gone with the Cloudneo. The outsole has lots of exposed foam kind of around the midfoot area, and then you've got harder sections at the heel and forefoot. There's some little kind of protrusions there to create a little bit of extra grip. I've obviously only used it for one run in the sun today, but no problems on that front yet. So yeah, interesting, very exciting shoe. Does it run well? Tom and I have been out for a first run to test that.
Okay, so I'd say that the Cloudneo is true to size, but it is a little bit narrow. I definitely wouldn't size up or size down in it, but just be wary that it's a slightly narrow shoe.
Fit was really fine for me, true to size. Like, it's got a really nice sock-like upper here. I had a good amount of room in the toe box, and I've quite a narrow foot, and it hugged my foot very securely, very nicely indeed. So yeah, fit was very good for me, true to size.
Okay, so I don't know that much about the Cloudneo. I've not done a lot of research into what the shoe's actually designed for. So I'm coming in fresh from this first run, and what I would say is it's a really hard shoe. It reminds me of something like the original Cloud Boom. I did plan to head out for a about 12k progression run today, but I got to about 5k and I'm starting to feel a little twinge in my calf, which I haven't felt for a while, so I'm cutting the run short. And I think it might be partly due to the firmness of these shoes. They're definitely a lot harder than any shoe that I would choose to run in at the moment, and I'm not really enjoying them very much, to be honest. I'm not sure if that will change over time, and it needs to the midsole foam needs to be relaxed a bit from a few runs, but they're very firm to start off with, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of give in them. It's not a very soft midsole foam on that first run, so I'm going to cut it short for today, just because I don't want to aggravate my old injury, and then maybe pick them up another day and try another shorter run, see if they loosen them up a bit after that. But what I would say from that run is that I went at a very my base pace, so I was actually a bit slower than my base pace. I was going at about 5 minutes 20 per kilometre over that 5k, and I didn't feel a lot from them. They just felt like a very hard shoe. I think they'd probably be okay if you were running short distance when you don't need a lot of cushioning, but as I was planning to do a 12k, I wanted something a lot more cushioned and enjoyable to wear. Really wasn't giving me that from that run. There doesn't seem to be any softness in the midsole foam, and also I didn't really get a lot of any sort of propulsion or anything like that. They're quite hard, so they probably aren't too bad if you're running at speed, but for comfortable running I didn't get a lot from those shoes. The upper did feel pretty comfortable on the run. I quite like the upper, but yeah, the midsole definitely not enjoying it to begin with. So I'm not entirely sure what these shoes are designed for. I imagine very general running, maybe short distances for people that are doing recreational running. I don't think it's designed for anything like distance running. Probably wouldn't use them for anything like tempo training or anything like that, just because they're a little bit too solid at the moment, and I'd probably only use them for max 5k based on what I felt in that run.
Morning from sunny London. I'm just about to head out for my first run in the On Cloudneo, the first shoe in the Cyclon recycling program. I've got just an easy hour on the plan today. It's really interesting to see if the shoe's comfortable and feels good for this kind of run, this kind of general daily training run. If so, it might be a really interesting kind of sustainable option to round out a shoe rotation. So I am half an hour in, first run in the On Cloudneo, and I quite like it so far. The first few K did feel quite uncomfortably firm. It was, quite a firm shoe. Classic on. I went down a big hill quite early on and I felt like it was pounding the legs a little bit. But that initial firmness has eased off slightly and it's got quite a smooth ride to it. I'm getting a fair bit of the rocker there on the run, and ticking along at a gentle pace feels okay. Yeah. First run in the On Cloudneo all done. I did about 13.7k odd at a nice relaxed pace, nice morning run here in the sun. Yeah, I've probably left a little disappointed by the end. Like I say, they felt quite hard at the start, and then they did soften up and break in a little bit. I thought, yeah, here we go, it's gonna be a nice smooth run. I did have a nice kind of patch from about 4k to 9k of the run today where they were feeling quite good. They disappeared on the foot quite well, they felt quite natural. I was in rhythm with them, but last 4k or so, they just started to feel a bit hard and firm again and wear on the legs a little bit, and actually quite a typical way for lots of On shoes is they're a bit firmer than most stuff on the market right now, and that suits a certain taste. But I find beyond 10k they get a bit harsh under my toes and that kind of thing. And so probably a similar case here, like they'd be okay. They were quite nice running for that first 10k or so. They were didn't feel heavy or anything like that. The foam is not giving a lot back, even with the speed board. It's not, you get a lot of ground feel, that kind of thing, but you're not getting bounce or cush or anything like that. It feels quite traditional and old school, really. For such a novel product in a way, it feels like quite a traditional ride for a shoe. Fairly dull, firm, but not unpleasant. Just a bit harsh towards the end there. So yeah, I'm gonna have a bit more of a think about them, but probably a little bit disappointed overall in the ride. Yeah, they're okay. They weren't they didn't blow me away today, but they weren't all that bad either.
So my early verdict on the shoe is that I think the concept is commendable from On. I think it's great that they're the first brand to have a subscription-based model for running shoes. I think the difficulty lies in what that shoe is actually like, because if there was a great shoe like the Endorphin Speed 2 or 3, or something like the New Balance Fuel Cell TC or something like that you can use for lots of different types of runs, I can see that subscription model being valuable, because you've got a shoe that you can use for lots of different things. I think this shoe for £25 a month, I just can't think of many runs that I would use it for. So I'm going to have other shoes to do the other runs that I want to do. The ideal scenario would be that you have a very versatile shoe as part of a subscription package, and maybe have your race shoe as a separate one that you buy outright. But I just think this shoe is so limited in what it feels like it can do. I'd probably end up buying 2 or 3 shoes as well as this, because I would only ever use this up to 5k from what I'm feeling from that run. It is a first run. Maybe in a few runs it will loosen up a bit and that midsole foam will become a little bit more enjoyable to run in, but for now, yeah, it's just, I'm not getting a lot from it.
So the Cloudneo is a very interesting idea. I'd really had high hopes for this shoe, because even if it didn't end up being a true all-rounder shoe that you really could use for every kind of run, you know, having a completely recyclable shoe you could fit into a rotation to handle, you know, one part of your running, all your base runs, or, you know, some of your speed work, that kind of thing would be very useful for lots of runners who could then, you know, feel a bit better about picking up a non-recyclable shoe for race day or something like that. First run of the shoe was a little bit disappointing. I don't really see how it could fit for me as someone who is a runner who's generally logging quite a lot of mileage, training for a marathon usually. Like, most of my runs are kind of 13k or longer, an hour at least when I go out for a run, and I just didn't find the shoe comfortable or protective enough for that kind of running, you know, at easy paces. It might still soften up a bit going forward, would be my hope, but yeah, at the moment I think it's going to be too harsh a ride for lots of runners. I can really feel the impact kind of going through my calves towards the end of the run today, and you know, I don't have any kind of injuries at the moment really, but you know, during marathon training, logging lots of miles, there are bits of the body that get a bit grumpy at me occasionally, and on easy runs I am after more protection than this shoe provides, so you know, it will aggravate those kind of things, I find. So yeah, that kind of rules it out for me really as a kind of general base trainer. When you're logging that kind of distance, I think it would work very well if you were doing shorter runs, if you were more around the 25k a week on, as mentioned, with this shoe, or generally heading out for 5 to 10k kind of max on your runs. Like, I did find it quite nice up until about that mark on the run today. Like, it was quite smooth, I did enjoy the rocker and it didn't feel too harsh, but it was just in the last kind of quarter of an hour there today that it did start to, you know, the impact starts to be quite noticeable and didn't feel that comfortable. But the midsoles also, it is quite dull. Like, you're not getting a big explosive return here or anything like that. I didn't really feel the speedboard punching you forward. Like, it's quite firm, you know, you will get a decent fast run out of it, but it's not providing the kind of exciting, energetic ride that you are getting from lots of shoes out there with, you know, new foams or some kind of plate in the midsole, something like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, all these kind of shoes, or even actually something like the Hoka Mac 5, which just has a dual density midsole, which has a lively ride when you are pushing the pace. So we'll use it for some speed work, but I'm not expecting anything too dramatic on that front. And you know, it will outperform expectations, and that could be where it might sit in a rotation. But also overall, it's better than the Allbirds shoes I've tried. Like, it is more of a performance running shoe than those shoes. I found those quite blocky, heavy, you know, dull. This is a bit more about it. It is a more kind of, it's a lighter shoe. It feels smoother and more enjoyable on the run. But yeah, it still does suffer from the same kind of problem, which is as you push towards those longer distances past 10k, it starts to feel a bit harsh. So it feels like it's built more for maybe even treadmill runs and that kind of thing. Also, I'd say if you're a big fan of On shoes already, you're probably quite used to a fairly firm ride. So if you like things like the On Cloud or the Cloud Flow, then you might get a bit more out of this than I did, because I don't love a particularly firm ride for kind of general easy runs like today. So if you are someone who does enjoy that, like lots of ground feel, that kind of thing, then maybe the Cloudneo would be a better option for you. But at the moment, yeah, I would still say you're probably trading off a little bit of performance for sustainability here, but it's an interesting shoe. It's a good looking shoe as well, so it'd be great for casual wear, although it might struggle a bit in the winter with this all white design. You know, I'm looking forward to doing some more runs in it, doing some speed work, seeing if it softens up a bit more, which is still my hope. And I'm really interested to see where On goes with this whole program in the future, and how other people react to this shoe. But for now, it's a shoe that I just can't really see where it fits for me, even if there might be some use case scenarios for other people. So guys, that's our first run review of the On Cloudneo. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are you really excited about this launch? Are you hoping to get a pair of these when it launches fully? Please like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and yeah, we'll see you next time on the channel.